Chapter 1711. Orissa glanced at Lucian, feeling that he was probably just making conversation. Whether they had a father-daughter relationship or not, she figured Lucian must have already known. Upon seeing me, he felt I resembled Lucinda, yet he didn't say anything. He also didn't ask me when I was born. Whether or not he had ever been in love with Lucinda, only he himself knows. She collected her thoughts and explained, "This was cooked by Edwin. I merely presented it as if it were my own. Chief Zabel, it's best to drink it while it's hot." She placed a cup in front of Lucian, then placed another in front of Benjamin. The fruit was placed in the middle. "Ah, delicious," Lucian exclaimed as he drank. "Everything Edwin makes is tasty. Go ahead and drink up," Orissa urged Benjamin, her gaze lingering on him. "Once you're done, I'll clear the cups away." Seeing that he wasn't particularly buzzed, she felt somewhat relieved. "All right." Benjamin picked it up, blew on it, and drank it straight away. "Lucian, would you like more? There's still some left outside," Orissa asked with a smile, as Lucian had already finished his drink. "I can't take any more. My stomach is bloated from all the drinking." Lucian rubbed his belly, chuckling as he complained jokingly, "They've scared me off drinking today." "Wasn't it you who urged them to drink?" Benjamin made a remark, then handed the empty cup to Orissa. Orissa also collected the empty cup from Lucian, said goodbye to them, and left. "I'll head out first. You guys carry on chatting." She chose not to stay, not wanting to interrupt their discussion. Lucian nodded. "Have an orange." Lucian tossed an orange to Benjamin, before grabbing one for himself. Benjamin toyed with the orange, but didn't eat it. "For this mission, you are to collaborate with Jeremiah." Lucian's statement left no room for discussion. There is no other way. The problem lies in his internal operations. This time, it's really going to frustrate him. Lucian chuckled, cognizant that the chaos in Jeremiah's camp would pose a significant inconvenience for the latter's election campaign. Was it his opponent's doing? Benjamin wasn't as meticulous as Lucian in this regard. After all, he didn't have all the information. We do have that suspicion, but we need evidence," Lucian said, peeling an orange gradually. Lucian glanced at Benjamin. "However, Jeremiah is at a disadvantage at the moment." Benjamin's eyes were deep and thoughtful, filled with his own considerations. As for Jeremiah and his opponent, it was still uncertain who would emerge victorious in the end. However, Benjamin still held a grudge against Jeremiah for kidnapping his son. Thus, he wasn't particularly inclined to help Jeremiah. Lucian glanced at him, well aware of Benjamin's temperament. "You're not holding a grudge against him still, are you?" All this while, there was no bad blood between Jeremiah and Benjamin, except for this time. Nevertheless, Lucian greatly admired Jeremiah's actions. Could it be that he discovered something amiss within his own ranks early on, and used the pretext of kidnapping the kid to threaten Benjamin into helping him? After some thought, Lucian felt that it wasn't entirely impossible. With a cold huff, Benjamin fixed a deep gaze on Lucian. Mockingly, he said, "Haven't you always been at odds with him?" Lucian raised an eyebrow, sighing, "That's a thing of the past now." Benjamin knew that their relationship had been quite good in the past. Hearing Lucinda's name today caused him to speculate, "You didn't mention why. Was it because of Lucinda?" Lucian paused for a moment, neither admitting nor denying it. "He's a romantic rival." Benjamin looked at him intently. "This matter has nothing to do with us. Why are you bringing up old issues?" Lucian was furious. Benjamin curved his lips into a slight smile. Lucian glared at him irritably, feeling quite displeased. "About Lucinda, I'd like to see a picture," Benjamin said with a serious expression. Having finished discussing the matter at hand, he made sure not to neglect this issue. There were still many questions that he needed Lucian's answers for. Lucian glanced around, then found and handed over Lucinda's photo. Upon seeing it, Benjamin narrowed his eyes. They really resemble each other. Just like me and the children. Chapter 1712. Orissa and Lucinda seemed as if they were carved from the same mold. It would be more accurate to say that they were even more alike, given their similar ages. At first glance, those unaware might really think they were the same person. Were you very close to Lucinda? Benjamin glanced up at Lucian, trying to ascertain just how well they knew each other. Indeed, we pretty much grew up together. Lucian glanced at him before saying, Lucinda was adopted by the Lewitt family, who are currently Jeremiah's rivals. However, Lucinda's life with her adoptive parents wasn't very good. Originally, that family had no children. However, after adopting Lucinda, they had a son a few years later. Consequently, their attitude toward her progressively worsened. It was just a bad attitude, though, not to the point of abuse. Nevertheless, it was a form of emotional abuse. Thus, Lucinda really wanted to leave that family. She was only provided for up until high school. When it came to university, she had to make her own money by working part-time while studying. We wanted to help her, but she wouldn't accept it, said Lucian, whose family did well. Jeremiah's family was also considered well off too. However, at that time, the Hoffman family still fell short when compared to the Lewitt family. Speaking of these past events, Lucian felt a burning sensation in his nose. However, Lucinda was very cheerful. She worked harder than ever and never shared her family's troubles with her classmates and friends. Nevertheless, they were from the same neighborhood, hence they knew each other's circumstances quite well. Benjamin raised an eyebrow. It sounds like Lucinda is actually a decent person. Why did she disappear? Lucian paused, seeming a bit hesitant to speak. Lucian, I hope you can tell me the truth. This matter is somewhat related to my wife. If I didn't have doubts about her identity, I wouldn't be asking such a personal question. Benjamin didn't beat around the bush with Lucian. Have you ever been together with Lucinda? Why did he not care when she disappeared? All he wanted to know now was whether Lucian was related to Orissa by blood. Lucian's lips pursed. We've been together before. Benjamin furrowed his brows. Have you two been in a relationship? Lucian was taken aback, looking at him curiously. No, I did want to, but she rejected me. Benjamin raised an eyebrow, rendered speechless by the answer. This can easily lead to misunderstandings, you know. Fortunately, I had clarified. Why did you just say that you two were together? Benjamin was utterly speechless. We grew up together, didn't we? Lucian gave him a sidelong glance. Benjamin was stumped. The way he thinks is just as weird as Kingsley. Having ruled out the possibility that Lucian was Orissa's father, Benjamin felt inexplicably relieved. Who has Lucinda been with? I'm talking about a romantic partner. Deep down, Benjamin had an idea, but he couldn't be sure if Lucinda had any other suitors. Both Lucian and Jeremiah knew Lucinda. They were also rivals in love. If Lucinda wasn't with Lucian, then it was highly likely that she got together with Jeremiah. You don't actually believe that Jeremiah is Orissa's biological father, do you? At this point, Lucian was no longer confused. Benjamin furrowed his brows, looking at Lucian. The latter didn't really like Jeremiah. Lucinda had indeed been in a relationship with Jeremiah, but she wasn't pregnant when she disappeared. Despite saying so, Lucian couldn't confirm if he was entirely certain. It is not easy to tell if a woman is pregnant in the first few months. She might have discovered her pregnancy only after she left. Benjamin was reluctant to involve Jeremiah, but this was just the logical deduction of a reasonable person. Can you assure me that nothing happened between them? Did Jeremiah ever mention this to you? Lucian's face turned red as he glared at Benjamin irritably. Why don't you ask Jeremiah yourself? How would I know anything about their affairs? He really didn't want to know, for it was simply heartbreaking. Benjamin glanced at him, aware that it was impossible for him to know such details. In fact, it was quite easy to find out whether Jeremiah had any connection with his wife. It would become clear once a DNA test was conducted on them. Where was the last known location of Lucinda according to the information you've gathered? Lucian looked at Benjamin and finally answered, Delmore. Chapter 1713. Benjamin was taken aback. There's not a single piece of information in the system. Lucian shook his head. There hasn't been any news or changes. Ever since she came here, she hasn't appeared again. Back then, surveillance wasn't as advanced as it was now. In fact, there was hardly any surveillance at all. Meeting someone was no easy task. When a person didn't show up, it could be due to unforeseen circumstances, but it was also hard to find any clues. Back in those days, it was quite easy to dispose of a body without a trace or being discovered. Thus, finding someone was really hard. Benjamin's mind was filled with various speculations. Finding Lucinda quickly was impossible. It was highly likely that Lucinda had suffered persecution. A living person couldn't possibly leave no trace of their existence. The relationship between Orissa and Lucinda was still somewhat ambiguous. If Lucinda had been with someone else after leaving, it would be difficult for Orissa to find her biological father. A long time has passed since then. You really shouldn't be sad anymore, Benjamin comforted Lucian. Lucian glanced at him. I'm not particularly upset. I just feel it's a pity. Back then, had Jeremiah not quarreled with her, she would not have left. Therefore, he had never forgiven Jeremiah despite the years that passed, and the two had always been at odds. Benjamin did somewhat understand Lucian's feelings. He rose to his feet. Go rest for a while first. In the afternoon, I'll have someone take you to the airport. Okay. Lucian got up, his head throbbing a bit. He really needed to get some sleep. Benjamin came over to assist him, but Lucian waved him away. I'm fine. Benjamin still helped him out. Have you finished discussing the matter? Orissa was carrying a plate of food for them, only to find that they had come out. Yes. I'll take him upstairs to rest first, while you should also get some rest and stop fussing about, Benjamin said, assisting Lucian upstairs. Orissa chuckled, turned around, and headed toward the living room to bring Bradley and the others the food. Bradley was conversing with Kingsley and Sean, discussing the events that occurred on his way back. You can't imagine just how unlucky I've been. I was driving halfway when the car broke down. I was then stranded in the middle of nowhere. I called for a tow truck, but even after waiting for an hour, it didn't arrive. They said there was roadwork ahead, so they had to take a long detour. I waited and waited. Thankfully, Mr. Graham called me. He knew where I was and sent 2 bodyguards over. As a result, we ended up tinkering with the car ourselves for quite a while before we finally managed to fix it. Do you know, the most unfortunate thing was, just as we had finished fixing the car, the tow truck arrived. Kingsley and Sean couldn't help but chuckle. Indeed, I can't believe how unlucky you were. Orissa laughed, yet felt a sense of guilt. When we left, we should have called you to join us. It's all my fault for forgetting. I'm sorry, Bradley. Don't worry, boss, didn't I drive there? If you had asked me to join you, I would still have to drive the car back, right? Bradley didn't blame her. He also knew that Orissa must have forgotten by accident. After all, he wasn't a fool. When he saw them leave, he too departed from Jocasta. Please dig in. Orissa sat down and asked Bradley, Bradley, what do you think about what Lucian said? Do you feel like going? Orissa, he has already agreed with Lucian's request, Sean said with a smile. He went to see Lucian in the afternoon, Kingsley added. Orissa was surprised. That fast. All right, boss, I'm leaving. You must remember me. Bradley looked at Orissa, thinking about how long it had been since they last met. He felt his nose tingling with a hint of sadness. Of course I'll remember you. Who could forget such a handsome guy? Orissa said with a laugh. When you have the time, give us a call. We'll call you when we miss you. If you face any trouble, let us know. Don't keep it to yourself. Understand? Orissa gave him a few words of advice, urging him not to become estranged. As Bradley had no other relatives, there were times when he felt a bit lonely. Indeed. Bradley nodded in agreement. Once you're out there, take good care of yourself and always prioritize your safety, Orissa reminded him, her worry akin to that of a mother for her child. Chapter 1714. During the holidays, you should come back. No matter where you go in the future, this place will always be your home. You can come back whenever you want. When we have the time, we will also visit you. You're the best, boss. Bradley could hardly contain himself, his mouth twitching uncontrollably. You're such a crybaby, Kingsley teased with a laugh. What do you know? Bradley glared at him, looking quite comical. Orissa's eyes were also beginning to moisten. Have you packed your luggage yet? Let me help you with that. The thought of him leaving so quickly to join Lucian filled Orissa with a sense of reluctance. We won't be able to gather together frequently anymore. My luggage is still in my car. There are a few pieces of clothing inside, enough for my needs, so there is no need to pack anything else. The things Bradley brought were quite simple. Bring a few more items with you. Once you start working, you won't have time to shop for clothes. If you find you're missing anything, just let me know and I'll send it to you, Orissa said to him before she got up to go upstairs. She packed a few more clothes for him, making sure to include a winter coat. As Bradley stayed over sometimes, he still had some clothes left there. Orissa had also brought him a set of daily necessities. Benjamin emerged from the guest room, noticing her bustling about. What are you doing? You should be getting some rest, he said. Bradley will be leaving with Lucian in the afternoon. I'm helping him pack. Orissa added, could you ask Lucian to take care of him? Don't worry, I will take care of everything. It will be tough in the beginning, but after the first half month, he will be completely adapted. It's just that it's a little strict there. Benjamin tucked her hair for her. Orissa nodded with a smile. In reality, there wasn't much she was worried about. Lucian was also acquainted with them, and Benjamin was part of the same gang too. There were certainly quite a few familiar faces among the group Bradley was joining. Thus, he would certainly not be bullied. Don't worry about him anymore. Boys need to forge the path themselves. Benjamin gently ruffled her hair. Orissa looked at him with a humorous smile and snorted deliberately. Did you let him join on purpose so that he wouldn't frequently visit our house anymore? Honey, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. Benjamin quickly denied it, asserting that he was always welcoming toward Bradley when the latter visited their home. However, he admitted that he felt a twinge of jealousy whenever he saw Bradley getting too close to Orissa. My accusation isn't without basis. Dare you say you had no ulterior motives? Orissa poked his chest, intending to reprimand him. Nonetheless, she wasn't serious. Benjamin gave a sheepish smile. Yes, his wife had a keen eye. There was no fooling her. Orissa gave him a smiling glance. I was wondering, how was Bradley suddenly allowed to join the National Security Agency? I might have an agenda, but this is good for him. Letting him gain experience is not a bad idea, as he can also share our burden, Benjamin explained to her. It was better that there were more of their people inside. It was also easier to get things done with acquaintances. Thank you, hubby. Orissa tiptoed and gave him a kiss. She hadn't expected that Benjamin would be so thoughtful, even arranging a job for Bradley. Previously, he had always found fault with the latter. Faced with his gesture suddenly, she was overwhelmed with surprise and joy. Benjamin wrapped his arms around her waist and reciprocated her kiss. You're welcome. A husband must share your worries and solve your problems. Orissa chuckled, her heart brimming with bliss. Has Chief Zabel gone to bed? Yes. It's still early. We'll take them to the airport at 5 in the afternoon. Benjamin glanced at the time. It was 3 o'clock, so there were still 2 hours left to sleep. The flight is at 6. Orissa murmured. It will almost be time for dinner. I'll ask Edwin to prepare dinner early. If they finish eating by 5, they should have enough time to go to the airport, right? Sure, we should have enough time. Benjamin curved his lips into a smile, not nearly as anxious as Orissa. If they can't, they could just take the next flight. Orissa chuckled, wondering what Lucian was thinking when he chose the time. Chapter 1715. If you get in Lucian's way, be prepared for a scolding. Orissa glanced at him, issuing a warning. HMPH. I'm not scared. He's already going back. Benjamin chuckled, deciding to act as if he hadn't heard anything when the time came. Alright, I gotta go help Bradley pack first. I'll also have to help with dinner in a bit, so they can eat earlier. Orissa said, then turned and walked away. After some thought, Benjamin decided to follow her. Go and rest, or perhaps you'd like to sit with them downstairs for a while. Upon seeing him following her, Orissa let out a chuckle. Benjamin looked at her. Let's go down together in a bit. Orissa didn't bother with him anymore. She quickly began to pack, and if something was missing, she would instruct Benjamin to fetch a new one. Do you really have to pack all these things? Couldn't he buy them there? Benjamin saw her pack everything into the bag. She had stuffed the bursting luggage to the brim. It's not as convenient as home. Don't you also pack these things when you travel? Orissa retorted. Since we have everything at home, there's no need for him to go out and buy. Benjamin touched his nose. He had done so because he was unaccustomed to using things outside. Orissa checked the luggage, ensuring nothing was left behind before finally zipping it up. Leave it here for now. We'll take it when we leave. Orissa patted the luggage bag. Only then did she leave contentedly. Benjamin took her hand and said to her, "The dormitory has everything he needs, so don't worry about it. If you don't believe me, wait until Bradley gets there, and you can ask him to take a picture for you to see." Orissa smiled at him, whispering softly, "What's there is different from what we have at home?" The things I packed for him warm his heart when he sees them. Benjamin raised an eyebrow. My wife is really fond of Bradley. Orissa swept her gaze over his face, a nonplussed look in her eyes. What's with that expression of yours? Nothing, honey, you're such a caring person. Benjamin complimented. The corner of Orissa's mouth twitched. The two descended the stairs, with Orissa heading toward the kitchen to inform Edwin about preparing dinner earlier. Benjamin, on the other hand, went over to sit with the others. Benjamin, have some coffee. Kingsley was quite the sycophant. As soon as he saw Benjamin arrive, he immediately poured him a cup of coffee. Benjamin glanced at them. Aren't you all going to take a nap? We're not tired at all. Sean, having consumed a good amount of hangover soup, was feeling much better, not to mention Kingsley and Bradley. I'm leaving with Lucian in the afternoon, so I intend to have some coffee and chat with them. I'm not sure when I would be able to return. Bradley didn't want to spend what little time he had sleeping. In truth, he was still somewhat excited. There was no way he could sleep. You can come back whenever you want. If Lucian doesn't release you, I'll ask for leave on your behalf, Benjamin told Bradley. Bradley responded with a laugh. Once you're there, don't hesitate to call home if you miss us, Benjamin advised. Got it, Mr. Graham. Bradley was deeply moved. We call you, but who knows, you might be too busy to answer by then. Kingsley, with his arm draped over Bradley's shoulder, was so amused that his eyes squinted from smiling. Bradley wasn't worried. There will always be time during meals. If I'm too busy to pick up, I'll return your calls when I'm free. Benjamin, Kingsley, and Sean exchanged glances, all of them sharing a light laugh. Bradley glanced between them, cautiously asking, "Why, is there no time for meals?" "It's not that there isn't any. It's just that it isn't fixed," Sean said with a smile. "You see, always being out and about, you guys probably only have time to hastily eat a piece of bread to fill your stomachs." Bradley was taken aback. "Mr. Bailey, you've experienced it before? You don't need to experience it to know," Sean chuckled. "Yes, it is tough. But Lucian will probably rely more on your skills. If you are to stake out someone, always prioritize your safety," Orissa reminded Bradley as she walked over and sat down next to Benjamin. Chapter 1716. Boss, rest assured that I will do a good job over there. Bradley wasn't afraid of hardships. After all, hadn't they endured even greater hardships back in the desert? It was simply that he was more accustomed to freedom, so being suddenly subjected to strict rules might be difficult for him to adjust to. Nevertheless, he was confident of overcoming it. Once he got busy, such random thoughts would cease. "Indeed, I believe in you." Orissa expressed her confidence in him. Bradley chuckled, saying, "What you're talking about, we've experienced before. Isn't it just training? It's no problem at all. What I'm afraid of is having nothing to do after going there and not being able to get off work. That's truly unbearable." Sean exchanged a glance with Kingsley, letting out a laugh. "Rest assured, there will absolutely be no idleness." Patting his chest, Kingsley continued, "If we come to look for you in the office, it might be difficult to find anyone. This is just a heads up to prepare you mentally. It's all right. Never in my life had I imagined that there would come a day when I would be of significant use to the nation. I'm truly honored and deeply grateful to Mr. Graham for giving me this opportunity." Bradley was not just being polite. His words were sincere, as he truly never expected to be accepted. Benjamin chuckled. Let's discuss this after you've passed the probation period and officially joined. I will definitely perform well. Bradley saluted and had everyone roaring with laughter. Orissa accompanied them for a while, then went over to the kitchen to help out. Edwin was preparing pork jerky for Lucian and had not put it into the oven. Thus, he found himself unable to free up time to prepare dinner. Lucian and Bradley were both about to leave, so dinner absolutely couldn't be taken lightly. Mary came down and, seeing them busy themselves in the kitchen, quickly lent a hand. Including the servants, there were quite a few people, so no one found it burdensome. Edwin, dinner should be ready by around 4:30. They are likely to set off at 5, as it's better to go over earlier. Half an hour was definitely enough time to eat. That way, there wouldn't be any frantic rush to the airport. No problem, Mrs. Graham. Edwin had already put the pork jerky in the oven and instructed the servant to keep an eye on it. Then, he continued to prepare the other dishes. Thank you everyone. Orissa fetched some yogurt and offered everyone a drink. Thank you, Mrs. Graham. We are not tired. Working together makes everything easy. Thank you, Mrs. Graham. Please, go rest. We can handle all of this. No one had any complaints, for it was merely dinner being served earlier than usual. Orissa had been very kind to them all, and no one could say otherwise. In the past, Benjamin wouldn't have cared about such things. The atmosphere at home was also tense, and they dared not make any mistakes. Orissa smiled. I'm not tired. Knowing that Bradley is leaving tonight, I can't sleep anyway. I might as well stay with you all to speed things up. As the place where Bradley is going to work very far. Mary knew where it was, but she didn't know how far away it was. Well, it's not too far. By plane, it's about an hour away. If you're driving, it might take 6 to 7 hours, Orissa said while picking vegetables. That's quite far away. He can come back during his vacation, right? Mary was cleaning the fish and shrimp, her efficiency surpassing even that of a maid. They probably wouldn't get much time off, as their work is special and they would be very busy. Orissa also couldn't guarantee that Bradley would have any holidays. This was entirely determined by the job. It won't be easy to see him then. I'm sure he will have leave during the holidays. Isn't that the case with such organizations? Mary thought that having an extended holiday was acceptable. Orissa chuckled, then explained to Mary, their workplace is different from others. They might be even busier during the holidays. Mrs. Graham, if you miss him, just give him a call. Communication is so convenient these days, the housekeeper joked, thinking it was no big deal. Indeed, Orissa responded with a smile. However, seeing him in real life was obviously better. Chapter 1717. When Kingsley came over, he saw that everyone was bustling around and chuckled in amusement. You guys are preparing dinner so early. I feel like I just had lunch. Orissa glanced up at him. You can skip dinner tonight. Indeed, Mr. Watts. Mrs. Graham wants to let Mr. Bradley have dinner before he leaves for work. We can't have Mr. Bradley go hungry, can we? Our guest also needs to eat. We'll have dinner a little over 4 o'clock. If they're hungry when they reach, they can have some supper. That would be perfect. Then, they won't need to go hungry. And only eat upon arriving. With so much delicious food, I definitely have to try some. Do you need my help? Kingsley asked with a smile. After all, there was a pile of ingredients to be prepped. Mr. Watts, come here and prep the lobsters. I'll steam them later. Edwin was not one for formalities. He put Kingsley to use, assigning him a task right away. All right, I'll help out too. Otherwise, Orissa won't have me at the dinner table later, Kingsley joked. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to get to work. Orissa shot him a glare and retorted with a laugh, when did I ever do that? In response, Kingsley chuckled dryly. He turned around and shouted at the living room, come over and lend a hand. We're pressed for time. Orissa has said that anyone who didn't help won't be allowed at the dinner table. Everyone looked at Kingsley in amusement. Mrs. Graham never said that. Struck speechless, Orissa couldn't be bothered to entertain him anymore. Enough with the yakking. Have you done what I asked you to do, Mr. Watts? Edwin urged him to get started immediately, busy with something else at the side. Right away. Kingsley hurriedly went into the kitchen to help. What are they doing? They're cooking this early. Upon hearing Kingsley's words, Bradley quickly got up. I'll go and help too. Otherwise, I won't be allowed to eat. Sean rose to his feet with a smile and headed to the kitchen. Why don't you go and rest upstairs? I'll call you later when dinner is ready, Benjamin said to Bradley, standing up to help as well. I'm not tired. I slept until almost noon today. I'll just catch up on some sleep on the plane later. Bradley also went along with them to help. Orissa, go and rest. Just leave all this to us. We'll lend a hand. Seeing Orissa somewhat struggling with her work at hand while sitting down, Sean quickly urged her to take a rest. Go and rest. Leave it to us, Benjamin echoed assertively. Orissa smiled, knowing that they were concerned about her. You all do something else. I'm just picking vegetables, so it's fine. She moved to sit at the dining table. It was higher there, making it less tiring for her. Everyone worked together, chatting and laughing, creating a lively atmosphere. The kids napped for half an hour. Upon smelling the fragrant aroma in the air, they all washed their faces and rushed downstairs. Mommy, what delicious food are you making? It smells so good. Gavin came over with his siblings. They had all smelled it from upstairs and couldn't sleep anymore, their curiosity piqued. Mr. Hinton is about to leave for work, so we prepared dinner early. Once they finish eating, they'll be setting off, Orissa said. The kids were still unaware that Bradley would be leaving at 5 o'clock later. Huh, so fast. Reluctant to part with Bradley, they all ran over to him and clung to his legs. Mr. Hinton, can't you stay a few more days? Mr. Hinton, we will miss you. Mr. Hinton, why are you leaving so quickly? Stay and play with us for a few more days. Otherwise, we will miss you terribly. Mr. Hinton, when will you be come back to visit us after going there? Mr. Hinton, I don't want you to leave. Please don't. Go. Mr. Hinton, you're really going to work that far away? I'll go with you. Bradley was surrounded by the kids. As he hugged them, he was moved to the core. I don't want to leave so soon either, but if I were to go alone, it would take me quite a while to find my way around. So, it's simply better to go with Chief Sable. I will miss you all, too. Chapter 1718. The sextuplets missed Bradley and were reluctant to see him leave, but they also understood that he was going for work purposes. They clung to him for a while but accepted his explanation. Then, we'll accompany you there. Gavin fixed his eyes on Bradley, wanting to go with him. Do you guys want to go and train, too? Bradley pinched his petite face indulgently. Nope, we're just going to drop you off and come back. We worry about having you go alone. Zachary also felt that it was a good idea. The kids were all in sync with each other. Bradley didn't know what to say, so he looked at Orissa. Orissa smiled, knowing that the kids were reluctant to part with Bradley. Stop giving Mr. Hinton a hard time. He will worry when you guys come back. Behave and make trouble for him. Once their mother had spoken, the kids didn't dare continue clamoring about tagging along. How about this? I'll call you guys as soon as I get there. Bradley squatted down and negotiated with the kids. All 6 kids looked at him silently, hoping to spend a bit more time with him. Had we known that Mr. Hinton would be leaving in the evening, we wouldn't have gone to nap. If you miss me, you can always call me. Bradley gently patted them on the head. All right, then, the kids compromised since it couldn't be helped. Oh well, let's not give Mr. Hinton a hard time. Mr. Hinton, don't worry. We will definitely call you several times a day. Just don't disdain us for being annoying at that time, Jasper huffed, his voice carrying a hint of threat. Bradley was torn between amusement and exasperation. Never. I will definitely answer your calls. He knew the boy said that on purpose, for they were all very sensible and would never be unreasonable while he was at work. If you dare ignore our calls, I'll go there and look for you to settle the score. Oliver also issued a warning furiously. Okay, Bradley promised. Listening to the conversation, Everyone was nonplussed. That's enough. Don't make Mr. Hinton reluctant to leave. He's going to work, not going out to play without you. Orissa coaxed the kids in amusement as they were only making Bradley even more reluctant to leave. Mommy, can we really not see Mr. Hinton there to report for duty? Jessie looked at her mother, her eyes red-rimmed. Her heart aching, Orissa cajoled the little girl. Are you all going to come back on your own? Jessie nodded. We know how to take a plane. Gavin and the others also do. For a moment, Orissa was at a loss for words. Just let them go, Benjamin said, coming out of the kitchen. At once, Jess's eyes lit up. Thank you, Mr. Graham. You're the best. The little girl clapped her hands, jumping up and down with joy. Benjamin smiled, affection written all over his face. Words eluded Orissa. My words no longer count now. You said to let them go, but are you accompanying them over? She looked at the man. Are you really at ease with letting the kids go and come back by themselves? Sure. Seeing that the kids were reluctant to part with Bradley, Benjamin decided to satisfy them since it wasn't that difficult. Orissa's lips twitched slightly. If you're bringing them over, I have no objections. It's up to you guys. The kids glanced at them, their eyes crinkling with laughter. Thank you, Mr. Graham. Daddy had agreed. How wonderful. Only Mommy is worried about us. You're welcome, Benjamin replied with a smile. Then, he turned around and went back into the kitchen to help. Mommy, you should come too. Timothy's eyes sparkled, and he hoped she would join them. Boss, I don't think you should go. It's quite tiring to travel back and forth. Bradley was already overjoyed that Benjamin was bringing the kids to accompany him there. He didn't want to trouble Orissa since she was pregnant. Yeah, I don't think I'll be going either. After I've given birth, I'll go and visit you, Orissa said apologetically, aware of her own condition. It's okay. Bradley replied with a laugh. Subsequently, he tried to dissuade the kids once more. Perhaps it's best if you don't accompany me there. What if I can't bear to see you all leave when the time comes? Chapter 1719. If you can't bear to see us leave, we'll just stay and spend more time with you. Laughter danced in Gavin's eyes, for he didn't find the problem particularly challenging. Won't you miss your mommy, then? Bradley teased, his eyes crinkling in amusement. Of course, we will. But we have time to accompany her, so we'll spend more time with you first. Zachary smiled and even stole a glance at Orissa. He added, Isn't that right, Mommy? After spending a few days with Mr. Hinton, we'll come back. You're all grown up, so I can't control you guys anymore. It's up to you. Orissa deliberately sighed, having no intention of stopping them. Then, she said to Bradley, You guys go and have fun. We'll handle this. After all, there wasn't much he could do with the kids crowding and clinging to him. Mr. Hinton, let's go and play. The kids tugged at Bradley, and he chuckled. Wait until I finish this, and I'll play with you all. Glancing at each other, the kids decided to simply pitch in and help. Then, we'll help you. Bradley patted their heads indulgently, a wealth of warmth suffusing him. Orissa glanced at the kids and warned, Don't cause any trouble. If you can't handle something, put it down and let someone else take care of it. We need to get dinner ready early. Since the kids were also going with Benjamin then, there was absolutely no room to tarry. Orissa wiped her hands and walked to the kitchen door. She asked Benjamin, Darling, should I pack some luggage for you guys? No, it's okay. I'll be bringing them back tonight. Benjamin didn't promise to let the kids stay there for a few days. Bradley would start his training tomorrow, and there wouldn't be anyone to play with them there if they stayed. He only agreed to bring them there to drop Bradley off. Orissa chuckled. Are you sure? If you guys spend the night there, don't complain about not having a change of clothes. Yes, Benjamin affirmed. Since he had said as much, Orissa no longer bothered to pack for them. She glanced at the kids gathered around Bradley and said, Sweethearts, your daddy said you'll all be coming back right after seeing Mr. Hinton there. Don't throw a tantrum at that time, but follow your daddy back obediently. Mr. Hinton will start work tomorrow. The sextuplets blinked their eyes, first looking at Orissa, then at Bradley. Got it. They were already over the moon that they could send Bradley there and would never cause him trouble. With all this going back and forth, it's quite troublesome. Why don't you guys stay home? Bradley looked at the kids with a smile, not wanting them to tire themselves out. Mr. Hinton, don't you want to play with us anymore? Mr. Hinton, why are you finding it troublesome when none of us does? Exactly, Mr. Hinton, my daddy has already agreed to bring us there, so you don't need to worry. Mr. Hinton, we'll just drop you off there and come right back. There's no trouble, Mr. Hinton, we're just going to check out the environment there in advance. Don't feel burdened. The kids started comforting him instead, each behaving like a miniature adult. Chuckling, Bradley stopped dissuading them. Since Benjamin had made that decision, he decided to go with the flow. Orissa sat at the dining table and watched them bustle about, for everyone wouldn't let her help with the remaining tasks. Sweethearts, go and wash some fruits for the others to eat. Okay. At that, the kids finally agreed to leave. They all ran to the refrigerator, grabbing some fruit and snacks. Then, they washed the fruits thoroughly before bringing them over, cutting and arranging them neatly on a plate. Orissa watched at the side, offering them some guidance. Be careful not to cut your finger. Got it. I can cut even better than you, Mommy, Jasper boasted with a smug smile. Indeed, you're the best, Orissa patted him on the head. Once the kids had finished preparing everything, she had them serve the fruits to everyone. Chapter 1720. With everyone working together, the prep was soon done. All that was left was for those tasked to cook to prepare the food. Orissa took the kids to the living room to play with Bradley and the others. The tableware was laid out by the help. Meanwhile, Benjamin, Edwin, and Kingsley were in charge of cooking. Finally, dinner was ready before 4:30. Sean, go upstairs and wake Chief Zabel. Tell him to get ready for dinner. Benjamin instructed Sean to go upstairs and call Lucian. Sure. Sean quickly put down the decanter and hurried off to do as ordered. Lucian was still sleeping, and it took Sean several shouts before he woke up. Chief Zabel, go and wash your face, dinner is ready. Seeing him groggy and bewildered, Sean couldn't help but feel a bit amused. Lucian glanced at the time, only to see that it wasn't even 4:30 yet. This early, aren't you guys heading to the airport at 5? It's best to get up early and start preparing. Benjamin and the kids will be seeing you all there. Upon hearing said, Lucian quickly sat up. They bought tickets too. Sean chuckled in amusement. I don't think so. Perhaps they're going to take a private plane there. Then, there's no need to leave so early. I can go back a bit later. Lucian ran his fingers through his hair while heading toward the bathroom. He added, I chose that flight because the timing was perfect and wouldn't affect anything. If it's a private plane, we can go over a bit later. There's no rush. Sean nearly smiled. I'll head down, then. Anyway, dinner is ready. It's fine to eat a bit earlier and have a rest before setting off. Okay, Lucian replied. Subsequently, he brushed his teeth in the bathroom. When Sean came downstairs, Orissa glanced at him. Is Chief Zabel up? Yes. I called him several times. He said there's no rush. Sean smiled and asked them to wait for a bit. He then went into the kitchen and repeated the same to Benjamin. Hearing that, Benjamin chuckled. He removed the apron he wore and said to Edwin and Kingsley, take your time with the rest. Chief Zabel said there's no rush. Kingsley was nonplussed. We've been bustling about for an hour like we were going to war. If we had known, we could have taken our time. Now that everything is ready, what's the point in taking things slowly? We might as well wrap things up and wait to eat. Then, we'll have dinner at 5. Benjamin said. Thereafter, he instructed Sean to call Jonathan, Ethan, and Jack back for dinner. Sean quickly made the call. Jonathan, Ethan, and Jack had been gone the entire day. After washing his hands, Benjamin went to the living room. Dinner will be served promptly at 5. I'm going upstairs to take a shower. The kids glanced at each other, then hurriedly followed suit. We're also going to take a shower. By the time we finish eating, it'll be time to leave. We won't have time to take a bath. Bradley, why don't you take a shower, too? They'll probably set off right after dinner. Once you arrive, you'll need to unpack. If it's late, you can skip your shower. Orissa urged Bradley to take a shower then and shower again if he had time later. Okay, then, I'll go upstairs first, boss. Bradley took his leave from her before going upstairs. I've packed everything in your luggage. Have a look later to see if I missed anything and add it in. Got it. Bradley quickly went upstairs. Orissa chuckled. There was still half an hour, more than enough time indeed. Kingsley and Sean came over and slumped on the couch. Cooking is quite strenuous, not only hot and tiring but also tedious, Kingsley lamented. It had been a long time since he last cooked. Orissa was both amused and exasperated. Now you know, huh? Help your wife more in the future. Kingsley chuckled. I need a wife who can cook. I can do other things except that. Sean was struck speechless. What if she thinks the same? She might also want a husband who can cook. You think you're the only one who wants that. Everyone does. Kingsley glanced at him. At worst, we can eat out. Why aren't you eating out now, then? Instead, you're here mooching off Benjamin, Sean retorted. These days, Kingsley was practically living there. You talk as if you do the same. You've mooched off just as much, Kingsley riposted, glaring at the man. Snacking on fruits, Orissa quietly watched the two of them bicker.